Welcome to Garblind Games. Tonight we are playing Star Trek Lower Decks using the second edition rules. I am Richard, I'm the Games Master for this evening. Rather than the way we normally start things, I'm going to start things slightly differently. We see the velvet darkness of space, lit only by the pinprick of stars and the reflected light of the system's primary. A ship passes in front of us, California class, with the name USS El Cajon emblazoned on the hull. The soft tones of a female voice starts dubbing over the vision as the ship goes past. Captain's log, Stardate 56301.7. Following orders from Admiral Talsarak, crucial training has been scheduled in order to prevent accidental incursions from the Terran parallel universe. The junior officers involved have a small window in which to complete this training, which includes installing a component into the transporter, as an Aldean delegation is due to arrive shortly. Let's just hope they don't screw it up. The view changes to that of a Starfleet corridor, clean and calm. Starfleet officers just moving through at their own pace, doing what they do in a professional manner. At least until a ball of goo, a radioactive green colour and the size of a Yorkshire Terrier, bounces around a corner, pursued by 4 Starfleet ensigns. So, I'm going to start this in an order which I had planned. So, Roger, please introduce your character, and then I have a question for you.
So I am playing Ensign Danny Thatcher, who is an Apagosian medical officer, junior medical officer. So wearing the kind of blue Starfleet uniform. He's kind of got blonde, kind of thick hair, shortish in length to not get in the way of Starfleet regulations. And he's the same race as, I think, the first officer from...
No, it's the chief engineer.
Oh, is it the chief engineer? Okay.
Yeah. So, as Roger said, the Apagosians are the people who... the kind of space Renaissance fair LARPer culture. They've got dragons on their world. They've renamed everything to be that kind of a thing. The guards on their spaceships have swords and armor. For the giggles. So, Roger, what was the previous mission that you guys were just on? Was it just a boring survey mission, or was it an exciting, action-packed one?
It was a boring survey mission.
Okay. Jan, would you care to introduce your character? And I have questions for you.
My name is Jan. I'm playing Ngao, an ensign of security officer. I have a little more experience in some of these dudes, but not much.
And also a Cation, as in the cat species, like Dr. Oh God, what's the character's name? Dr. Who? The doctor from Lower Decks, who, for some reason, I hate words. Words are hard. I lose words. It's ridiculous. No, either way, that one.
My fur is kind of tawny, auburn, gingery, slightly overly long at the on my head, and sort of flops a lot. And I have a very interesting little herbal garden that I like to tend to in my spare time.
Remember the name, it's Dr. Ta'ana. So, Jan, question, or a couple of questions for you. Which member of the group inadvertently brought the goo aboard on the sole of their boot?
I suspect the medic, because God knows what he picked up on his survey mission.
You were all on the same mission, but no,
okay,
no worries.
Yeah, it's still him. He likes going into gooey things. I wouldn't go near it; it messes my fur.
And why did the transporter buffer, which normally would detect dangerous things and filter them out, why did it not detect this goo?
Because it recognised the goo as being sentient.
Okay.
And so therefore assumed it was part of the group that were beaming aboard at the time, which is one of the reasons why we've got to go and change the component tree.
Okay.
To tell it that Goo is not a recognisable crew member.
So, Rupert, would you care to introduce your character?
Yes, I am playing Ensign Tana Essa, who's a Bajoran engineering officer. Yeah, so he's wearing the yellow operations uniform, I think, and he is not wearing his Bajoran earring, but does like to fiddle with it, so has a bit of a reflex to slap himself in the side of the head, reaching for his earring.
No worries. That sounds interesting. If there's a story behind that I need to know, let me know, and we'll work around that. So, question for you, Rupert: how long between the survey mission you went on, and now? I'm thinking minimum 3 days, but it can be up to like a fortnight longer. Or how long has it been?
I'd say about a week.
Okay, no worries. And how did this chase start? What was it that began this chase?
Guess we all had to clean our boots.
Okay. Would you care to introduce your character?
I'm playing a Vulcan science rookie called Scun. It's the fastest Vulcan in the land. He's also a novice, the rookie. So, and I think the science is the blue top, right? The blue uniform.
Yes, science and medicine are blue.
And he's pretty stereotypical Vulcan with the bad bowl hair and the archy eyebrows.
No worries. So, question for you: based on everything that we've heard so far, how long did it take you, possibly you specifically, if everyone else didn't, but how long did it take to spot the goo? Bear in mind, it started about the size of a pea when it was brought on board, and it's now the size of a Yorkshire Terrier.
So I think it took about 10 minutes since we got back on to realising.
Okay. And maybe just your engineering officer hadn't spotted it until he moved his boots where for some reason hiding. So what happened between noticing it and the chase you're now in? Because you noticed this weird goo thing.
So I think what happened is we had a sort of innocent start of conversation. What's that on your boot? Where? Let me get it off. And then it did the moving around thing, dodging stuff, and then hopped into behind a cupboard or something. And then we spent a bit of time searching around for it while it was getting bigger. And now we've realised it's got massive so far.
No worries. So you've begun this pursuit after this thing. You're probably, if not the only people on board, some of the few people who know this thing is here. The senior officers probably aren't aware of this. It's not something you're likely to inform them of, because you don't want to get into trouble, and what they don't know won't hurt them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with an extended task. This is how I'm going to treat this. You're going to spend some time, your characters are chasing after this thing, and we will make rolls, and then when you reach the target number for the extended task, you have then caught it. You can come up with your different methods of things you're going to do to try to capture this thing, or to increase your chances of capturing the thing. This is my first time of using the 2nd edition extended tasks, which I think are slightly better than the ones that they had in the original one, which was far too much in the way of make a skill roll, then roll the damage dice, because they were trying to turn not combat things into combat, which just really didn't work because it was just rolling dice for dice sake. So there's not a specific order. So does anybody want to start, and anyone got any ideas of what they want to do to try to begin this trying to capture this piece of goo?
I think something to contain it straight out would be the smartest thing.
Okay.
Is there such thing as like a, fire alarm button that you press and then doors shut?
Well, you can try to do emergency force fields. I think that's more of a thing in Star Trek, is emergency force fields in sections.
I don't want it to be like a really, we don't want it to be really obvious, right?
You
We
could
don't
try
want to
and
red alert
hotwire
the
the
entire
door.
ship. Yeah. Let's see if we can just
Suction device.
the Hoover, grab the Hoover.
Yeah, we could suck it up and it would be contained in the bag.
Just to
But somebody else will have to do it because I can't go near that thing. It scares me.
Just to reiterate, this is a extended task, so it'll probably take you guys a few rolls between you to get to the end. At which point, at the end, you actually manage to capture it. So,
all right, where we are, is there like pretty much one door, or is it a room that I can press the button and the doors of this room will shut?
you're in a corridor, and there are a number of doors, Jeffrey's tubes. You're probably going on the side of the ship at the moment, so you've got the windows on the side looking out into space, and you've got this. Most of the other people who you're running past and these things going past might cock an eyebrow or sort of look, but then they just carry on with what they're doing.
Do we know where this corridor? Can we corral the goop into like one room and then shut that room? We're all chasing it.
You can try to. As I say, basically what you're going to be doing is you decide you tell me what you want to do. We'll work out the skill that you're rolling, and then depending on how well you roll determines how far along the progress track we get.
Yeah.
Once we get to the end of the progress track between you guys, then you actually manage to finally capture it.
All right. I'm going to see if I can pelt ahead of the goop to like stop it from coming towards me. So if the others are chasing it, we can try and like veer it off into like a room.
Okay. So that sounds to me like a fitness and security roll. Or if you have other ones you'd prefer to go to, I'm also happy to listen to that. So 2d20 it works fairly.
I'll take that.
When I tell you you take an attribute and a department, you add those numbers together, and that's the number you need to roll equal to or less on the dice that you're rolling. You roll a minimum of 2 20-sided dice unless you're assisting. You can buy additional dice up to a maximum of 5 dice rolled. Each dice that rolls equal to or below that number is a success, and if you roll a 1 or you have a focus that's relevant and you roll beneath the skill ranks for that department, then you get an extra success on that dice for each one that does that. And yes, that's a target number. I realise that some of you are probably reasonably familiar, but we also have people watching, hopefully, and some people, Rupert I know specifically hasn't played this game before. So this has a difficulty of 2 and a resistance of 1. Resistance is think damage reduction. So you need to roll 2 successes to succeed, and then resistance is it trying to avoid being. The difficulty in resistance is it trying to avoid being corralled, whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right. Is there such thing as like assuming momentum, or is it called something different in this game?
In this game, you have momentum and you have threat. And thank you for reminding me. I need to get that out because I have my tokens. You don't start with any momentum because you only get momentum when you have rolled more successes than you need.
And if I want to buy more dice off you for threat, how much is the cost? Is it 1 for 1 or is it 1 2?
Your first point is 1 point. Second point is an additional 2. Third point is an additional 3 for a maximum of 6 points.
Right. I'm going to buy 1 dice off you for 1 threat. That gives me 3 dice.
No worries.
I've got 11 for fitness and 4 for security. Can I use a focus in composure? Because I don't want to I know we're chasing and stuff, but I want to keep my shit together and not,
Because you're a Vulcan and because this is not a incredibly serious game, I will say yes.
Wicked. All right. So 3 dice. I got to get 15 under. I have got a 19, a 1, and a 2.
3
Okay.
successes.
So you've got.
So that's
What's your ranks in security? In
4.
Okay.
4 in security.
No.
With 4 successes, right?
So
4.
that's 4 successes, and because the complication range is still only the level 1, which is 20s or above, you haven't rolled a complication.
Brilliant. That's 2 successes. So we've got 2 momentum back, right?
Well, this is the thing with a progress chart. It doesn't quite work that way
Oh, okay.
because it's an extended task. You've got your 2 successes, which means you succeeded. The resistance reduces it by 1, but now that you've succeeded, you don't have any. You have 1 point of momentum, which I'll just put that on my pad for the moment. Sorry, your rank department ranks were
4.
4. So,
and I got a 1 and a 2.
no problem. So, just getting my brain back into remembering how.
Yeah,
So you've got 2 points of momentum because there's 2 difficulty. You've got a department of 4 because the resistance that brings it down to a 3. So you've done 3 points on the progress track, and you've got 2 points of momentum. Now you can use those points of momentum to increase your progress on the chart, or you can keep the momentum as momentum so that other people can use that to improve their chances of doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to save the momentum for whoever's next, if you want to use it.
No worries. So that's 2 points of momentum, 1 point of threat. So who wants to go next?
Can I try and herd the blob using my application Dragon Dog?
You can absolutely do that. So herding with a dragon dog. I think that's going to be presence and command. That sounds to me. As you're trying to get your dog to do what you want to do specifically in the way you want them to do it.
Sure, I will give it a good go.
So before you roll your dice, do you want to buy any additional dice?
I might buy an extra 1,
Okay.
seeing as we've got 2 momentum.
No problem. You can use momentum, or you can spend threat and save your momentum for later.
No, I'll just use one of them for
No worries.
7 and an 11. And another 11.
Okay, so is 11.
And that's all 3 successes. My total is 12, because I only have a command of 1.
That's another point of momentum. What was your department?
Medicine.
What was the rank? How many ranks did you have in it?
Oh, in the department for command, just 1.
1. Okay, so 1 reduced by 1 for resistance. Unfortunately, what you could do is spend your point of momentum to give you 1 point of progress, because command is the best thing. I'm happy to have you guys, by the way, if you have a different skill combination that you're thinking of, or as with, I mean, I've been playing running Deadlands using Savage Worlds, and quite often with those sorts of things, it's absolutely up to the player if they want to go, actually this is my best skill, and work away using that best skill to get what they want to get.
I mean, I'd love to try and blag medicine for releasing a dog, but I don't think that would quite work.
Yeah, but you can think there might be another thing you can do using your medicine as because I'm using this medical skill to do this. If you see what.
Oh yeah, but that wouldn't have used a dog.
So Scan absolutely pelts it past, gets past the thing, gets sort of towards one of the bulkhead where the corridor sort of joins onto a second and third corridor. Gets there ahead of it. You said your dragon dog. What is your dragon dog's name?
He's called Tucker.
Persian dragon dog. Worries. Okay, so who wants to go next?
I'll give it a go.
Idea of how to something to try to improve your chances of capturing this thing.
So can I ask questions about the blob?
You can absolutely ask questions. You may get answers.
Is the blob sort of is it a rolling blob? Is it an articulated like is it more like flubber or is it more like a ball that is just rolling along?
I've never watched Flubber, so I can't answer that. But have you seen the Orville?
Yes. Is it
Nothing
Yaffet?
It's nothing like that. No, it's kind of bouncing around. It's almost like it's almost shaped. There's a bit of a shape. There's an amorphous.
Sounds like flubber.
Okay, so that.
So my crazy engineering thought is if we turn off the gravitation plating in the corridor, then it won't be able to move around because it will just be floating in space. And then we won't be able to move around, but at least it's
Okay.
more simple.
Okay, so that looks to me. I think that would be reason and engineering. That sounds to me.
So my reason is 11 and my engineering is 5.
Cool. And as always, I'm happy if someone wants to suggest a different. I'm expecting you to be quite happy to stick with that one. But if anyone has another suggestion as to how they want to do it, if I suggest something and you have other thoughts, the worst you'll get is no. I really think it's still whatever it was I just suggested. So no problem. Do you want to buy any extra dice?
I'll leave it uncomplicated for now and see what happens.
No worries. No worries. So you have it's 12 and 6, 12 and 5, wasn't it?
11 and 5.
11 and 5. Okay, no problem. So you have a 16 or less on your two 20-sided dice. So your dice are counted separately.
Okay. So got a 16 and a 19.
Okay. So unfortunately, I think that's a fail. Yeah. Yeah. 60 is a fail. You need 2 successes. The 16 would have been a success, I think, but you needed 2 to actually succeed in the first place. No worries. So you go over to you'll rush to a console and you quickly start pressing the buttons, and you've got a countdown. Actually, you managed to get it to start, but it starts on a countdown. It's got 5 seconds to give everyone enough chance to anchor themselves or get to where they need to. And by the time it's coming up, I'm guessing you guys will have rushed out this area as the thing bounces through a doorway that's open. If someone comes out of a door and it bounces into that, and you've got the 5, 4, 3, 2, etc. No worries. So, Jan, what do you want to do?
Actually, I'm going to treat this as prey and pounce.
Okay.
I shall use my athleticism and try and capture it by treating it as a small plaything to be caught.
So I'm thinking this is probably daring in security.
Yep, I will go with that.
You want to buy any additional dice?
Yeah, I'll buy 1 dice.
No worries.
May I use my focus of crisis management? We're trying to manage this before it turns into a crisis.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll be, especially to begin with, I will try to be kind. But also, this is a lower decks game, so it's not quite so. I keep having to remind myself that this is not quite so serious.
12, 18, and 2. So that's 2 successes on the dice and 1 success. My focus counted.
Okay. Is the 12 a success?
Yes.
So that's 3 successes because the 2 with the focus, unless your department is 1.
No, security is 5.
It's one of the things I did like about in the Fallout version of the rules, which is you choose your specific skills which you're going to be particularly good with, and then it bumps up. You get extra ranks, so it actually becomes worth it. Because I have a player in my Actum Cthulhu game who specifically was putting his focus in wherever he could that had 1 or less ranks, because that's the way he likes to play. So, what's your ranks in your security?
5.
Okay, so resistance of 1 brings that down to 4. Okay, so Deborah, you pounce after this thing. You bring your paw down, and you just miss it at the last minute. You managed to scare it in a different direction, so you're controlling it, its movement.
Okay.
Because, as I say, again, it's an extended task. Until you get to the end of the task, you haven't succeeded. You haven't completed, I should say.
Well, I shall try and continue to contain it and corral it towards Scon.
No problem. No problem. Okay, so as you do, what I will say is that you do that, and it sort of slithers out through a door on the opposite side. The door is still open; you can get past it, and you're still pursuing it. But you can.
Yeah.
You're doing the best you can to do that within it's running away, and until you finish the progress chart, you haven't caught it.
Okay.
Do we want to stick to the same order, or are we going to? Does anyone have a specific thing they want to do first?
I don't mind. Where is the thing now?
Basically,
the corridor.
It's gone into a door, into a room, like a meeting room type thing, which I'm guessing most of you have scampered in following it, as the corridor behind you that you were in, the gravity plating has been switched off, and there are now officers kind of trying to sort of move in the middle of the corridor over to something that they can push themselves off with. And then the door on the other side of this meeting room is opened, and it's just gone through there with Ngao sort of face plant on the carpet on the other side, just missing it with her paw.
Right, cool. So are we all in the room with the thing?
It has gone out of that room, but you are in that room. I'm going to be a bit woolly with this, in as much as it's kind of it's a chase sequence.
All right, then I think what I'll do is,
and also
seeing the cats. Go on, Richard. Sorry.
Not necessarily going to be a minute by minute. We're cutting from one location to another.
Yeah. So yeah, I think seeing the cat trying to just tackle it, I'm going to. Oh, maybe I can just assist you. I can spend my action to just, if the cat's going to go after it again, I could just wait till you do that and assist you, right? Instead.
Yeah, if you want to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm happy to do that with my action.
No worries. So, who wants to actually go next? So, Nick, Benson Scott is going to hang fire until Engel does her attack. But
assuming they're going to attack, do they look like? Does Engel look like they are going to attack?
That dragon dog's awfully noisy.
Tucker.
Roger's on mute.
Is it all right if I go?
Yeah.
So while my dog is, from the sound of it, very enthusiastically chasing after this thing, I'm going to quickly, as I'm running after it, rummage through my medical pack thing on my belt and basically select something on my hypo spray thingy to basically make the thing cold, because when it's cold it'll be less elastic, which will mean it'll get a lot less bounce and hopefully slow down.
Okay. So I'm thinking this is probably going to be daring and medicine.
Okay.
Again, I'm happy to take if other suggestions if people have other thoughts.
About reason, picking out the right thing to use.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I will give that a go. And how do you determine what your target number is?
You add your reason to your medicine. That's your target number.
But then one's a crit unless you have something.
Unless you have a focus, yeah.
Don't think emergency medicine would cover this somehow. All right. So let's go with 15s. Do we have any momentum?
There's 2 points of momentum, and you can always add to threat.
I'll use 1 point of momentum to gain an extra die.
No worries.
So that's a 2 and a 7, so that's 2 successes, and a 10. So 3 successes. Unfortunately, I didn't have a relevant focus, or it would have been more.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So you've got enough successes to get the point of.
And I have 4 points in medicine, if that makes a difference.
It absolutely does. So 4 points minus the 1 for the resistance. So that's 3. So we have there are breakthroughs during the progress track in the same way as shields on a spaceship and such like. So the first breakthrough, which is at 50%, which we've just gone past, increases the resistance to do. So you move towards it, you fumble, you find a hyperspray, and you kind of do your damnedest to sort of spray at it, and you catch it partially because you haven't gotten to the end of the progress track, which does slow it down a bit. As it gets hit, it kind of one part of it, that's the other side of it, slaps it. It's almost like extends, and it's a pseudo, excuse me, a pseudopod which slaps into one of the walls, and it kind of drags the rest of it along to where a Jeffrey's tube is, and it's sort of into there. But you have done some you've progressed the task. So who is next? Rupert or Jan? Nick is assisting.
Well, I'm going to dive up the tube after it.
Okie dokie. So you're gonna? Is this still another attack it kind of a thing, or?
Well, the moment I'm attacking into pursuit because we don't want to lose it in the Jeffrey's tube system.
No problem.
I'm
Okay.
just going to dive in and follow it.
So this is again. I think this is going to be a fitness and security. A lot of this is going to really fall into your wheelhouse because the sort of things you are doing are very security focused. Do you wish to buy additional dice? And I will remind you at this point, you've got 2 points of momentum, 1 point of threat. You can mix and match. So, for example, you could spend 1 point of threat to get the first dice and 2 points of momentum to get a second dice.
I'll spend 1 momentum to get a fresh. Get 1 more dice.
No worries. Before you roll, I believe Instant was assisting.
Yeah.
And I mean, your assistance can just be following on behind. So if
Sure. All right.
how is it you are wanting to assist in Gal? What's your intention? It can
Well,
just
perhaps I just can help by flinging the cat down the tube. Give her some actual momentum, not the mechanic. But
okay. So for you, I think it's fitness and security as well.
All
Roll
right.
what you roll one dice.
Yeah. Do I wait till she's done it?
No, I'd say do yours first, I think, and then Jan can roll first, following whatever you get.
Can I use a focus in martial arts, as in some kind of judo throw to fling the cat?
I don't see any problem with
that. All right, so 1 dice. I need. Did you say fitness and security?
I did, yeah.
So 15 or less. Come on. 7. Okay, 1 success.
All right.
And I have 3 successes.
Oh, nice. Okay, so the Vulcan grabs hold of Ngao by the scruff of the neck and sort of the back end and lobs her up the Jeffrey's tube. And there's probably a ball of fur is propelled up. So you've got 2 points of momentum. So your security was 5. What's your security, Nick?
-4.
Okay, so I'm going to add half of your department to Jan's department for purposes of progress because you have assisted. So that's 6 minus 1 becomes 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and you have passed another breakthrough, which is we have got a new trait. A trait has been created, which is you are now focused on your target. What this means is there's a trait on the for the situation, and at any point you think this is relevant to what you're trying to do, you can say, because I am focused on the target, this is easier, which means that effectively the difficulty is reduced by 1. Or if what you're trying to do should be impossible, I am focused on my target, so therefore it should be possible. So, okay, I think that leaves us with Rupert.
I think that I can't remember. Ensign Tannen is going to try to. I'm going to assume that the engineering officer has some knowledge of where the Jeffries tubes go. Not too much, but enough to try and close or lock the doors at some distance down the tube.
Sure. They go in the Jeffries tube you're currently in goes into a number of different areas. One area goes to where the turbo lifts are, the nearest bank of turbo lifts. Others go into the air conditioning and the cargo bays.
Yeah, is it? I suppose I can try to close the doors in the hub that it's going to. Would that make sense, or do I need to close them to one?
You'd be able to close it to one thing, I think.
Yeah. Okay, close it to the turbo lift. That's where I'm going to try and stop it going.
No worries. So that is, I think that's going to be reason and engineering.
Yeah. 11 and 5 again.
So 16 or less on your dice. Do you want to buy any extra dice? There are 3 points of momentum.
Well, I rolled and I got 5 and 7, so.
Okay. So 5 and 7 is that's just 2 successes, unless you've got focus that you think is relevant.
No, I don't think so.
Okie dokie. Oh, actually, I misjudged that because I forgot there was your resistance 2 now. So what is the department you're using? What's
engineering, which is 5.
Okay, so 5 minus the now 2 resistance brings that to 3. So you're really doing quite well. So you've spent probably about 10 minutes now chasing this thing. You've gone through a number of corridors to get to the Jeffries tube. It's gone through sections of the Jeffries tube. You've shut off a couple of the bulkheads to the emergency bulkheads to stop it from getting to the turbolift bank. And so it sort of ricochets off of that, followed by a cap bouncing off. And it sort of shoots out another Jeffries tube on a different in a different corridor. You're not sure which deck you're on. It's, is what it is. There are doors swishing as it kind of bounces, and you guys are chasing after it. So, who wants to go first on the 3rd round? Who wants?
Is there a way we can track it on a scanner or something?
You could probably get the sensors to track it. That would require computer access, which would log it. But you are in visual range for the most part with it, so you are keeping.
Oh, okay.
At least one of you will be able to see it at any point. I mean, this is lower deck, so it's not a serious kind of.
Sure. I assume have we all got
communicator.
I don't know, walkie-talkies to each other.
You've got the combat.
Yeah, badges.
The Delta.
Yeah. There you go. So, so if the cat's right by it, she could tell us where they've come out, where she chased it to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm unless you guys want to do something, go in different directions or whatever. I'm happy to presume that the band of you are chasing after this thing and keeping
cool.
largely with it. But if you want to go a different direction, one wants to go a different way and try to cut it off, or other things, then that's also fine. It's how you see this chase happening.
Well, unless somebody's got any other better idea, I'm just going to carry on chasing after it.
Okay, so just a pursuit, or you're trying a tackle?
If I think I can get near it, I'll try and tackle it as well.
Okay, Okay, so that is, I think, going to be daring and security.
Okay. My daring's only 8. Security's 4.
And if you have another one you think it would be better, you're welcome to suggest things. The worst you'll get is, I don't think.
I mean, I'd like to use fitness again just because it's better, but
yeah, I'm good with that.
That's cool. All right, so fitness and security. I'd like to try and use the focus of martial arts again. Try and
Do you want to buy extra dice?
Blob. How many momentum have we got? Have we got any?
3 points of momentum.
I'm going to buy 1. I'm going to buy 1.
No worries.
Cool. So I've got 3 dice. I need 15 or less, and I've got focus. Oh, I got a 16, a 14, and a 3. So 1, 2, 3 successes.
No problem. So you only needed 2 to succeed. So that's what your point momentum back. Your security is?
Security's 4.
4. So 4 brought down to 2 by the resistance is 2. At the last minute, Ensign Scon, pursued by the rest of this ragtag Delta shift, pounces, leaps, and sort of lands on this goo, which is surprisingly not tacky. It's kind of, like these stress balls. It's that kind of feel. And as you're grabbing it, there's like bits of it squeezing between your fingers. But it's not tacky, it's not dirty. And as you've landed on, and everybody else the rest of you charge up behind her to assist, or him, sorry, to assist. You kind of, can I have let's call this an insight and security roll from everybody apart from Ensign Scon.
All right.
Sorry, insight and security.
Yeah, this is a perception-based roll.
No.
Oh, I got 2.
2.
How many dice are we? Sorry, how many die are we rolling?
You always roll 2 unless you're
Okay.
assisting somebody,
Okay.
but you can buy additional if you wish.
And this is insight plus security.
Yep.
Okay. I think just reading this out loud, so I make sure I'm getting it right.
It's fine.
My insight's 9, my security is 2, so I need to roll below 11 or 11 or less.
11 or less.
Okay, so I got 11 and 4, so I got 2 successes there.
Okay, so everybody got a point of momentum. So your momentum pool is now the maximum it can be at 6 points. As Scon lands on this thing, the rest of you kind of pile in after it, and they the 3 of you, he's kind of holding onto it and sort of it's trying to escape, and he's holding it in place. And the 3 of you, your heads kind of turn, and you realise you're on the bridge in the backdrop of a conversation with an alien ambassador.
Brilliant.
So did we bring a box or something to put this thing in?
Well, let's assume you did, a box or a bag or...
I'm just going to put the box over it and start slowly backing away.
No problem. So, no problem.
Just hoping no one somehow noticed.
To leave the bridge.
Absolutely, no problem. Ensign Thatcher puts the box over and it's the sort of leg you're sort of sidling out, not being obvious kind of look.
Desperately trying not to be seen.
Whistling.
No problem. So, cut to opening theme, opening credits. We go through that. I may even see if Pete can sort of splice it so that video thing is at that point. You are now back in your quarter areas. You've dealt with it. What would you do with this thing, having caught it?
Probably try and put it in a more suitable container.
Hand it to the science lab.
Mhm.
To see if they can find out anything more about it.
Well, I want to go try and see if I can find anything about it, because, ooh, new thing.
Yeah, but all you're going to do is chop it into little bits.
I am not, because it could be alive.
Or you're
Well,
fairly sure.
it was moving quite well for something that was dead.
Well, as in it could be sentient is more my point, and I wouldn't want to.
Well, that's why
Get
the
it.
transporter didn't pick it up because it's sentient.
We all have.
Can I try and
certainly.
mind meld it to see if it's sentient?
I will say yes, you can mind meld it, but this is kind of the we're just about to go on to the next scene, which is actually getting on with it. This is just the prelude. This is not even the plot of the scenario. Opening.
Maybe I'll save that.
The
Probably some kind
pre-credit.
of. I'm assuming we've got some kind of containment device we could use.
I mean, if you're anyone who might remember, I can't remember which series it is, but Ensign Tendi, who is the Orion, has a goo in a jar. So
Yeah, I need a goo jar to put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can replicate a vivarium or something. You know. So you want to do a mind meld. Now, from another game I ran way back using the Prime Directive rules, we did come up with a thing where not mind melding with a mollusk, because that happened and it was a bad thing. So mind melding. I'm going the wrong direction for that. Here we go. So you need to make a control and science test with a difficulty of at least 1. It can be opposed. I think what I'm going to say is it's not going to necessarily oppose, but because it's such an alien creature, the difficulty will be 2.
Fair enough. Okay. So I've got control and science together is 14. I'll buy an extra dice.
No problem.
I'll buy an extra dice for 1 momentum because we're capped out of momentum, aren't we? Still.
You are, yes. So this is bringing you down to 5. I do not use the rule in 2D20, which is at the end of each scene you lose a point of momentum, because that just seems a bit. Yeah. It doesn't. All the times I've run it, it doesn't seem to have just been a detriment.
Yeah. Especially when you've got like 800 threat that you can just keep there forever and ever.
Yeah, I've actually run out of threat before. I had to 3D print more threat for the next.
He did.
All right, let's see. Can I use a focus of diplomacy?
Yeah.
This thing is just if this thing is sentient. So, what did you say? Control and science is 14. 3 dice. All right. Okay. So I got an 11, a 2, and a 5. So that's a 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay. So. What I'm going to do is I will grab. Okay, so you've got 2 points of momentum. One of those can go in the pot if you want it to, but the other one, if you don't use it, it's lost.
Yeah, so I'll spend it on obtain information or whatever the equivalent. If there's an equivalent.
Yeah, but it says here momentum may be spent to gain more information or perform deeper telepathic exchanges. The link goes both ways, and it is tiring and potentially hazardous.
Well, that's fine. I'm an ensign. I'm a rookie. I don't know that.
No worries. So, what do you want? We'll stick for the moment with the instant momentum, which is going to vanish one way or another.
Yeah.
What question do you want to ask?
Oh, and I assume that I can just pass this information to everybody else as well, so that if you guys have any questions, please throw them in. I guess the first thing I would ask the goop is like, why did you come on board with us? Was that on purpose or was that an accident?
You get the feeling of it being ripped from its home.
Oh dear. Okay. I translate that to everybody. I think your boot, Thatcher, might have accidentally trodden on this fella's. Well, fellas, that's my second question. I asked the goop. Do you have a preferred name, or what can we refer to you as?
The translation is nebulous. You're not
unpronounceable.
It's not so much unpronounceable. It's more of a concept. It just seems to be a I am me. It doesn't seem to have a name convention. It's just it has a an awareness of itself, an awareness of others, and it is it.
All right.
Strong the meep energy.
I'll ask him, what do you want?
Okay, so I should be spending these points of momentum. Oh, the second one, there's this third question you've asked. I'm going to treat the second point of momentum of the one you earned, because the first one would be just for succeeding.
Sure. All right.
So what does it want? I would say what it wants is to be returned to the goo.
Yeah, fair.
It probably uses it different. You're getting a returned to its home-ish kind of translation.
Yeah, okay. All right. Anyone have any other questions? Because assuming that we know where we've picked it up, so if we need to take the goop home, return the goop, then we know where we've got to go.
How are we going to send it back?
Are we still in orbit of the planet that we picked it up? Oh no.
You have just arrived at the planet Aldia for the next mission, but the ship has quite a few shuttles. So at some point when time is, available, there's nothing stopping you from getting a shuttle and warping back to that planet.
Okay, so we have to book some holiday days altogether and
That should take that long.
go back.
It was a week from that mission to this mission, but
Right.
you may well have been doing other stuff in the meantime. And you've got you've got several warp capable shuttles. Hell, you've got 2 runabouts on board the ship. None of these have been named. So if you guys, when you come up to using a shuttle and you want to name it, go for it.
Have we got another momentum that we need to get rid of, or have we used them?
You used your answer from success. You used the instant momentum that you had to use, and you used extra momentum that would have gone in the pool. You have 5 more points of momentum, and you can always spend threat for extra questions. So you're not at the end unless you decide you don't want to ask any more questions.
Okay. So I'll just sort of explain to the goop in a telepathic way that we will get you home, but it'll take us a little bit of time. I don't know if he has a contact at the time.
Does it need feeding?
Yeah. In the meantime, what can we do to keep you happy and safe? Just while treat this like a holiday.
Yeah, I mean, basically, what you're getting from it is, I mean, it was a small D-shaped thing when you got it here, and
it got bigger and bigger.
This sort of Yorkshire Terrier-sized goo ball.
Has it got bigger still?
It took a week to go from pea-sized to.
All right, okay.
So it probably has grown a little bit bigger, but you're not talking by anything that, notable.
Sure. All right. So yeah, what does it need to keep it safe and happy and content until we can return it?
Its response is probably along the lines of, return me to the dark until you can return me to the goo.
All right, Delio. I explain this to everybody else.
Which because you're a Vulcan and you're reasonably sure that means putting back behind the cupboard until.
Yeah.
I mean,
in the dark,
the container we've got it in, can we kind of turn it down so the light polarity, so it's dark inside?
You can. As part of what it's trying to describe, it seems it's been consuming the dust bunnies that's behind the cupboard. So you probably tip a few dust bunnies into.
Oh yeah, but so we can put some into the container to feed it.
Yeah.
Because we kind of don't want it running around.
Sure.
Or bouncing.
I mean, we could let it run around our quarters and just rumba.
Your quarters are a corridor.
We could take up the holodeck for a run round.
Yeah. Yeah. Everywhere that needs a bit of a clean, just let it have a little run
Medical
around.
centre.
Get back in there. Yeah.
Engineering department, definitely.
Yeah.
So we fade to the opening credits and then to scene 1. You are all. It's been a few hours. You've gotten yourself sorted. You've dealt with what you've been dealing with this thing. When your comm badges go off, and your first officer says, "Delta ship reports to meeting room 3." What you know about your first officer is that he is human. He's called Corvin Hames, sorry, and just an average human first officer. Competent, brave, true, all those really annoying things. And he has kind of this, almost a quiff, a real sort of extra Elvis quiff. No worries. So are you heading straight that way, or are you going to do anything first?
Yeah, the first officer's summoned me. I'm going to make a beeline for it.
Yeah, I'm going to go straight up there. I'm going to complain about it the entire way.
No worries. So your Bajoran is complaining about the this meeting. Anything particular, or are you just generally?
Oh, just the general humanity of it all.
No worries. No worries. You get to the meeting room. The door swishes in front of you, and the only person in that office is the commander. And as the door swishes open, he looks up, sees you guys, and says, "Be seated." And once you're all sat down, right, you have been selected for crucial training. We have had instructions from one of the Admiralty. We need you to report to Transporter Room 3. This is training in order to prevent incursions from the Terran parallel universe. So if you see anyone with a beard that doesn't normally, report it.
It's going to be looking like far too over enthusiastic.
The duty transporter technician, Mordic, will give you more information when you reach there. You do have a time frame, however, as we have some dignitaries arriving soon. It should only be turning up at Transporter Room 1, but we like to have all of them free just in case.
Only odd number transporter.
There's a look. The eyes just. There's a little bit. The head sort of looks down, looks back up, as your dragon dog stops shaking, mid shake, almost like it's aware that it's been looked at.
I just kind of ruffle it. Thank you, sir. I'll go right away.
Dismissed.
I just kind of like scurry off excitedly. Come on, Tucker.
Yeah, I think. I keep forgetting his last name. Tanan is going to sort of half-heartedly jog after. If you can half-heartedly jog, I think you can.
Yeah. What about the other two?
I'll like, march along, but clearly not excited. Have the no expression face and just on a mission.
So Vulcan. Steady.
Mooch down, trying to remember what I know about repairing transporter rooms. I may have been sleeping through that particular lesson.
No worries. So you arrive at the transporter room. It doesn't take a long time to get there. I mean, this is a California class. It's not exactly massive. And there are turbo lifts to get to where you need to get to if it is far away or whatever. And in there is the duty transporter technician, who is a Benzite, kind of almost reptilian with a mask across his face to keep his a native atmosphere available. Welcome. You are Delta Shift?
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, come in. Take a seat over there. And he gestures to a couple of sort of just about stalls, almost bar stool kind of things that have been set up near the transporter controls. There are two. Only two.
I just curl up on the
I'll stand up. Yeah, I'll stand up.
He begins by going through a bit of a lecture. So as you may be aware, there is the Terran parallel universe, one of many parallel universes. The Terran parallel universe, however, is one where things are just slightly wrong. The people who you'd be considered to be the good guys are the bad guys, or just slightly... Actually, it tends to mostly be bearded bad guys or sexual deviants. That's the way it seems to be. So if you come across that in your working life, do report it to a senior officer. It may be an incursion from the Terran parallel universe. And they have come to us occasionally. It's stolen vessels or tried to infiltrate, tried to take someone else's place who pretend they are one of our officers. It has caused problems in the past. In the meantime, I'm going to need you to install this component. He picks up this sort of weirdly shaped module. Does it now? Who remembers how to install components into a transporter?
My hand shoots up.
Very good, Ensign. Now, I'm going to roll a dice. On a 1 to 10, he hands it to your engineering officer. Anything
Well, you could actually know what he's doing.
Yeah. It is a 9. If I'd have rolled 11 or higher, he would have gone, that's good, and handed it to somebody else. He hands you the component. Right. Please, if you'd like to demonstrate for your companions how to install this, and I will be watching from here.
Okay. Let's see. Do I have any focuses that help with this? None whatsoever. Unless it relates to EPS systems.
Yeah, the EPS systems will be involved in the transporters because it's the plasma system that powers the varying components on the ship. I'm happy to do that. You don't have to go into description out of character to the players, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can if you want.
Yeah. So swaggers over to the transporter pad, attempts. I don't know if this requires a skill check to deftly kick open a panel on the floor like he's done it several times before.
I think because just purely for the entertainment value, make me a daring and engineering roll. I'm going to say the complication ranges can be 19 or 20 because it's funny.
I have daring 11 and engineering 5.
Okay, so 16 or less, don't roll a 19 or 20.
I got a 10.
Okay, no problem. So, yeah, you absolutely do that. You book comes out, prods the panel just enough and in a cool way, and it sort of slides open. And there's flashing lights and glowing sort of bars of the power distribution system.
I reach into the mess of components and pull out whichever part it is that I need to remove to fit this part in. Or I'm guessing here. Do I actually need to pull anything else? Or...
This is probably more a place it into one of the redundant slots and arrange things slightly differently. Rearrange the plasma to reach to the EPS to go to that component as well as the others.
Yeah, and pull out a few isolinear data chips and swap them around as as you tend to do in this sort of thing.
No worries.
Yeah.
Mordic you hear Mordic sort of shuffle generally in your direction, and you can almost feel him sort of looming over, looking at what you're doing, and you hear him go, "Try not to do it quite so quickly. Your colleague needs to be able to see."
I slow down to an almost comically slow pace.
They're good. They're good. And then you hear a thump of a body hitting the deck.
Well, if you do it really slowly, it gets really boring, I guess.
Can I scan him to see what's wrong?
You absolutely can. So,
I mean, or is it obvious that he's drunk?
it definitely seems drunk. If you want to scan him, absolutely do.
I will scan him.
No worries. This will be an insight and medicine. What I'll do is I'll say you can have a bonus D20, a free extra D20 for your tricorder.
Cool. All right, so insight and medicine. Oh, yeah, 3 successes. 12, 13, and 7.
So I'll add 1 point into your momentum pool, and you've got 1 point of instant momentum that's going to vanish if you don't use it.
What can I use it on again? It's been a while.
There's a number of things. I'll give you the initial answer, and then we can go from
Okay.
there. The initial thing you pick up is there's a malfunction with his breathing apparatus, which is it's an unbalanced oxygen-nitrogen mix, which is causing signs of intoxication. So things you can do, I mean, largely with what you're doing at the moment, the kind of skill you're doing at the moment, I think it's going to be things like answering additional questions.
Can I use it to make fixing it easier?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, I will do that, and I will try and immediately correct the apparatus.
No worries. You start doing that. Can I have an insight and security roll from everybody, please? I'm going to say the difficulty is going to be 1 higher for Roger on the basis that you're busy in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So difficulty is 1.
Oh, sorry. What was it again?
Insight and security.
1 success from me, so that'll be nothing because of the difficulty.
2. Okay.
2
success
from me as well. 2 from me.
Whereas Rupert?
1.
Okay, no problem. So you've got 2 points of instant momentum that's going to vanish because you've already got 4 pool. So do feel free to just, when you're doing dice rolls, use momentum, because the system works best when you're using it and it's kind of a cycling through.
Is this where we can use 2 momentum to make a trait for the scene?
Yeah.
All right.
So let me first describe what you've seen. Those of you who succeeded, which is everyone apart from the medic, who's obviously just busy trying to get your transporter chief sober from his.
I'm probably going, "Ooh, I'm doing something."
You're actually doing medical work. I'll get an award. I'll get a medal. You all, apart from Ensign Thatcher, notice a sudden flash from the other side of the room where the transporter pad is.
Sorry, can I just say this because I keep forgetting? Roger, did you fail that check?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a thing called backup plans. Whenever you or an ally fail a task, as long as I'm in the scene, you may add 1 point to the group's momentum pool.
Okay.
You get another momentum that we need to burn quickly.
No worries. So you've got 3 points of momentum. You can spend 2 of them for creating a trait. You can direct someone, which allows them to attempt a single action with no. That doesn't quite make sense. Doesn't immediately attempt a single action with no +1 difficulty. Not sure what. I'll have to look into that. But other tasks you can. Oh, not the wrong thing. I'm an idiot. Actions. So here we go. Sorry, apologies. Alter trait. You can for 2 you can do an extra major action. For 1 you can do an extra minor action, or you can obtain information. And you got 3, so you could obtain information and create a trait. Or
how long would the trait last for? Just this scene, or
usually it depends on what the trait is. Some traits would make sense to last longer, and you can spend other points to make it last longer. But normally it's for a scene.
I would suggest you make a trait saying, "We all know how to do this job now."
Yeah.
I mean, you could create a trait of successfully passed training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, no problem. As you may remember from last week, I created a channel on the Discord, which was, amongst other things, for traits.
Yeah.
So if someone would like to go onto that and add those on, and then you guys can, when you're doing rolls, if you've got a trait on there that you think is appropriate.
So we could spend the extra 1 spare momentum that we need to use, and 1 of our own momentum to make it a permanent trait. Is that the same in this game? Or we can spend twice the momentum and make it permanent.
I would have to check the rules because I obviously don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I'm happy to take that if that's the way you want to do it, at least for now.
Because it would just cost us 1 of our momentum, and would it be handy to have it permanent? Something that.
What's the trait we're going for?
Successfully completed training.
Yeah, that sounds like a good permanent one.
Useful. All right. Let's do that.
So successfully completed Terran Universe transporter training or something.
Cool.
So you're spending the additional instant momentum and 1 of your pool to make it permanent.
Yeah.
No worries. So yes, 3 of you have spotted a flash over the other side of the room.
All right. What's the flash like from? What's over there?
You look over.
It's near the transporter pad.
Yeah. It's not the kind of glow that you would get when a transporter pad is activated. It's a very quick flash kind of a thing. And when you look over there, to begin with, you don't really spot anything out of the ordinary, and then you kind of there's something that doesn't quite. It's sort of really annoying you. So the back of your head, so something is not quite right here, and you realise there's a noise that's kind of almost a gentle cooing noise, and there is a ball of fur the size of a grapefruit on the transporter pad. And then you realise it's a bit more strange than that, because it has like metal wires going from one part of it to another, and it's got like almost like a lens bolted on the side, and one section of it is bald and there's like a metal plate.
So I know immediately what that is. Does my character know immediately what that is?
Would you care to type into the chat what you think it is to chat to me, and I will.
I think I know what it is. I've just forgotten the name of it.
Wires are confusing me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I sent a message to you.
Okay.
Because my knowledge of Discord is not great.
I am not seeing.
Oh wait, should I send? Sorry, on Zoom chat.
Oh, it's just turned up. It's just turned up. Yeah, that's fine. It was taking its time. Yes, it is a tribble, but it doesn't look like a standard tribble because you can see all these wires and this metal plate and this
It's like a Terminator tribble 1000.
Borg tribble.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's been experimented on. It's escaped from a lab.
And it's transported onto here.
Yeah. So
Um,
you spotted that. You're just coming to the end of working on Mordek's breathing apparatus, and he's starting to sort of recover a bit. You can see his levels are beginning to return to normal.
Do I think he'd need further treatment?
Probably wouldn't be a terrible idea. He should be okay, but you know.
Do I think he'll be able to walk soon?
Oh yeah. I mean, within 5 minutes, he should be sufficiently able to move, reasonably steadily.
All right, I'll just be constantly like completely fixated. This is the first thing I've had to do medically on this ship. I'm just going to be constantly scanning him, making sure I don't screw anything up. Completely oblivious to the fact that something else has just appeared in the room.
No problem. So, what are the rest of you doing, having seen this weird tribble?
I am immediately panicking about it because I think my character thinks it's a Borg tribble. If it isn't, then I don't know, but I'm convinced that this guy would think that. And I think can I take an action here? Yeah. Try to put the tribble in the pattern buffer in stasis.
Okay.
Nice.
No worries.
I will assist you with that.
That's
I'll
pretty
give you
cool.
an assistance. Yeah.
Okay. You're an engineer. You've got the time. You've got the equipment. No problem. You're in the right position. So your fingers dance across the console with the assistance of the Vulcan, and there's the standard, and it disappears.
Where's it gone?
There's a telltale pattern buffer item here.
Nice.
I don't know what to do from that point. That was I don't want to get got by the tribble.
No problem. I mean, Ensign Thatcher does hear the sound of the transporter and the conversation being had, but you're probably still reasonably focused on the thing that you're doing.
Quite obsessively so.
In fact, your Tucker is kind of sat at Mordek's feet, kind of almost ramrod straight with the head straight up, big eyes, and just kind of licking Mordek's hands now that he's sort of laid up against the stool.
Good boy.
And as so it's a very wet, like lots of slobber, and as the slobber's landing on the carpet, there's a noise, burning small holes in the carpet.
I'm assuming he's not doing any harm to.
No. It's mainly for flavour because it's a dragon dog. Okay.
How likely do we think it is? Sorry, I've forgotten the medic's name.
Danny Thatcher.
Mine, Thatcher.
Thatcher, how long until he's aware enough to solve this problem for us?
He should be regaining proper consciousness in a few minutes, but he will need further medical attention.
He is conscious. He's just kind of leaning up against, sort of breathing, and he's
okay.
Drunk, but now he's kind of recovering from it because you fixed the issue.
He is awake, however, I'm not sure he's in a condition to answer technical questions. Why? What's the matter? Surely it can wait. I've got to get this guy to sickbay.
I'm gonna say here that I'm actually going to spend my point of threat and say that Danny Thatcher says that, and then suddenly his hand sort of lightning fast smashes over to the Delta badge on his uniform and goes, sick bay, 2, emergency transport.
That sounds like the sort of thing I'd do.
Damn.
He leaves the 3 of you in the transporter room and a dog.
Oh no, I would have said 3 to transport.
Okay.
It would have been the dog.
So it leaves the 3 of you in the transporter room and a slightly corroded bit of carpet near this.
I think my Bajoran Ensign Tannen is still pretty blind panicky about this idea of that's a Borg, and turns to the other 2 ensigns and asks, "What do you know what that was, or what that is? Here it is in the pattern buffer. Please look at it."
Do we immediately know what it is by just looking at it?
Looking at it,
Well, I
you
haven't seen that.
definitely looks like a tribble,
Mm.
but there are bits of it that don't look right. Now, Tennant saying Borg, it sort of vaguely has a Borg-ish look. It could be a Borg tribble.
Is there a way to use because it's transported from somewhere? Like, can we track that and see where it came from?
You could certainly try. Yeah, I would say that would be. I'm going to say insight and engineering is the most likely combination.
Oh, that's not my forte. I mean, maybe I'll say that to the engineer. Can you track where this came from? And again, I'll assist you if I can assist you.
You can always assist. That's fine. Not a problem.
Yeah.
I'll say one person can assist. Sorry, let me rephrase this. You can assist. How you assist is up to the player. So if you, for example, the situation with the chase, you decided to use your martial arts to throw Ensign Gao up the Jeffrey's tube, and that wasn't what Ensign Gao was doing. So if you come up with a combination, the same goes for you, Jan. If you can think of something that your character could do, which would assist your Bajoran engineer.
And if you assist, do you have to use the same skill, or you can use something else?
You decide how you're doing it, and you roll against that combination, and then as long as Rupert gets successes, your successes add on to his.
All right. So what I'll do to assist him is, because I can see he's freaking out, I will use like I don't know if can you bring pastimes into it? I have a focus of mental resistance techniques and composure, but pastimes I have meditation. So if I can chill him out.
I don't know whether it's intended, but I'm going to absolutely say yes, you can.
Brilliant. All right. So I'll try and just keep you calm and ask you to track see if you can see where it came from. And then maybe we can, figure something out from there.
Sure. Jan, are you going to try to assist? And if so, how?
Before we went away, I wanted to play with it.
Take that as a no. Right.
You alert. You watching the. Are you just watching the transporter pads?
Yeah, wait till it comes back so I can play with it.
No, so Nick, if you'd like to roll your skill, I think that is going to be pretty. I could see an argument for presence, control, or reason. I'm going to say it's a science.
All right.
What's the department?
Let's. What's control for? Is that as in the attribute? What's it about?
Control. Who's that? Okay. All right. You sent me there as well. Right. So I've just gone in to check something, and it's the message that Rupert sent is also there. Okay, so control is about you controlling yourselves, covers precision, accuracy, and careful timing. It can rely on self-discipline and control of one's emotions to ensure mechanistic precision. or it can be a mixture of fine motor skills, coordination, and familiarity with the activity.
Okay, and what about reason? Doesn't really matter because they're the same, but
Reason is about
reasons
logic
from
and
what?
meticulous analysis, forming of hypotheses and intricate planning, as well as the recollection of intricate facts and calculation of complex variables. Relies on keen observation and a thorough command of the facts.
All right, let's say control and what was it? Science.
Yeah.
It's 14, but I'm assisting, right? So I only roll one.
That's right, yeah.
And 14 or less. Oh, 18. I am no help to you at all. I slap you. No, I don't really.
So Scott is waffling on about some
Yeah.
Vulcan religion or,
Add a drop of lavender to your bath.
God, Vulcan bath bombs.
Have you tried chamomile tea?
I've seen Vulcan bath bombs as they're kind of those almost like pyramidical sort of
Yeah.
shape, almost like weird shaped D8 stone things that the Vulcans have, but these bath bombs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only dissolves at 80 degrees or something, and just makes it completely unusual.
Yeah.
No problem. So, Rupert, if you'd like to make your roll, this I think is most likely going to be. I'd accept reason, but I think insight is the most likely, and engineering.
Yeah, so I've got 9 insight and 5 engineering, so 14 or less.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. And it's 19 and 17, so.
No problem. So you start, your fingers start flashing. Don't forget, you can also buy additional dice before you make the dice roll, and you have got a fair amount in there. Now, I will go to something else briefly before I answer the question here. You also have 3 points of determination. Now, determination can be used for a number of different things. If you spend it before a dice roll, you can set one of your dice to a 1, so you're automatically starting with 2 successes. If you do it afterwards, you can re-roll any number of dice from your dice pool. Now, there are 2 mission directives for this adventure. One of them is don't embarrass the captain. The other one is return the tribble from where they came. So, if you're, I realise that's probably going way to the players, but that's, how do you explain the mission directives without telling them what the mission directives are? If you have got a value or a mission directive that you think is appropriate to what you're trying to do, you can tell me what it is, and as long as I agree, you can spend a determination to do things. And determination is very powerful. So, as I say, for 1, you could go spend a point of determination because of whatever value or directive. Then you can re-roll any number of dice that you've rolled. And you might have talents that allow you to roll as well, so don't forget your talents.
When does it refresh your determination, or is it 3
Determination
forever?
at the start of each mission.
Right, cool.
And there are ways to get extra.
Unfortunately, I think all of my values are sort of more tailored towards improvisational situations, not.
All right. And so, do you think either the mission directive of don't embarrass the captain or send the tribal back to where they came?
Oh yeah, sorry. The second one is
If you want to, that's all right. It's all right. You're learning the system, mate. It's not a problem. So if you want to use that, you can spend one of your 3 determination to re-roll any number of dice in your dice pool. You cannot buy extra dice when you're doing a re-roll, but you can if you bought up to 5 dice before you spent the re-roll, then you would be able to re-roll all those 5 dice or as many of them as you wanted.
Okay, can I spend 1 to re-roll 1 of my dice?
You can spend it to re-roll both if you want.
Oh, is everyone okay with that?
They're your
Yeah, go
determination.
for it.
Everyone has 3 determination each.
Right, I see. Okay, yeah. Okay, then yeah, absolutely. I'll spend 2 to re-roll 2.
Sure, no problem. So re-roll your dice.
A 7 and a 20.
Okay. Interesting. So there is a success. There is also a complication. Now, one thing you can do with complication, normally complication, I will use, and I'll say, you're trying to capture the goo creature. You leap to get at it, but you roll a complication. So although you may catch it, you also damage your arm. You know, you wrenched your shoulder or something. You can also spend 2 points of, I think it's 2 points of momentum, I think it is, or 2 points of threat to buy off a complication. So you give me 2 points of threat and we go, okay, we won't give you, there's no complication going to be there. So do you wish to do that?
How much momentum do we have?
You have 5 points of momentum and there's as many points of threat as you want to add to the pot.
How much threat is there?
I have 0 threat at the moment, but you can spend threat at any point that you want to. Threat and momentum can be spent in the same way. Just when you're spending threat, you're giving me points to spend to do things to you.
Can I spend? I'm just going to go a bit off card here. Yeah, can I spend some threat to make sure we don't get a complication?
Absolutely can. So 2 points of threat. The complication doesn't happen. Your fingers dance across the console. To begin with, it's you. There's a second when you think, oh no, I've just rematerialized this thing in the captain's cabin, and then you realize, oh no, I haven't done that yet. I haven't pressed that last bit that actually does it, and you kind of retract that a little bit, and then you kind of do a bit of investigation, checking through the settings, checking through the system and the readouts, and from what you can tell, this thing did not originate from anywhere in the local area. As far as the transporter is concerned, the first use of it on that creature is you putting it in the buffer. There are some strange resonances, though, within its transport signal.
I tell everybody else this. Everybody else who's actually here.
Did you catch that, Nick?
Come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Unless somebody ate it.
So I'm going to quickly switch over to Ensign Thatcher. You materialise in the medical bay. The doctor quite happily doing their thing. Your doctor is just trying to find the page where I wrote that bit down. Medical officer is a Vulcan called Usith, who's female. And as you materialise, she turns, looks at you, looks down at Tucker, looks back up at you, an eyebrow arches up her forehead. Head goes just to one side, and Tucker's head tilts to match.
I just, without thinking, excitedly just start reeling every bit of medical information I know about what's happening off, just in a non-stop stream of enthusiastic, oh, look, I'm doing something, kind of.
Sure. There is a second of Usith listening to you, and after that, as you're talking, she takes 2 steps forward, and one slender finger goes over your lips. And then she kind of gestures towards the tricorder that's still in your hand.
Just hold it straight in front of her.
No problem. She takes it off of you, starts checking the details. There's a momentary, not quite a shudder, but there's a momentary sort of reaction, and she looks down, and Tucker is kind of nuzzling underneath the sort of the jacket, the long jacket that she's wearing, and sort of sniffing. And she kind of takes a step back, and with her free hand kind of gingerly pets Tucker on the head, and then gets a solid lick up her palm. She sort of wipes her hand on something, takes the hypospray, injects herself, and then, thank you, Ensign. Lieutenant Mordick, if you'd care to join me, I will complete this. You have done well, Ensign. You may continue on your task.
Thank you, Mum. I'll just kind of okay, come on, Tucker, and just run back. Literally, just start running back towards the transporter.
No problem. Lolloping, the ears going, almost like wings. No problem. So, back to the transporter room. What are you two doing? I would say what the three of you are doing, but we've got Jan's stepped away.
Scon is security, right?
Science.
And Gow is
Science,
security. Scott is science.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, it just, in my frozen patch, just rotate to the security ensign and go like, this is your problem.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm science. Sorry.
We'll assume you've done that. And when Jan returns, we'll go through what happens then. Are you doing anything else in the meantime?
Well, what can we do? We can't just leave it there indefinitely, can we? How long do you
Well, yeah,
have a window?
that's exactly it. There is a degradation time. Usually you're worried about that, but when it's something you don't want on your ship, I guess you're not too concerned. But it's also, in my mind, partially Borg, because I'm thinking like if that degrades in the patent buffer, there's a chance it will just assimilate the patent buffer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, shit.
So I would say
can you just transport it elsewhere?
Could, but it seems a bit like the only place you would want to transport something like that is back into space, and that doesn't seem like the most ethical thing to do.
No. Could you transport it into like, you know, the brig, the jail or something? Or do you have to like if you transport a prisoner onto the ship, do you have to then walk them to the brig?
You could transport the creature directly to the brig. With Borg, assuming it is Borg, there is a not inconsiderable chance it might try to assimilate the brig.
Well,
okay.
I mean, we probably don't know in character, but they do hold Borg in the brig in the shows, and they seem to hold them there okay.
Yeah, for a period of time.
I think they've usually been...
Put it in the box of the gloop and see what happens. Fun.
We already have a jar. Let's just...
your tenant turns to you and says, "This is your problem," because that's what he was going to say.
Yes. Your security. Yeah. There you go.
So I don't know how much you heard, but basically there's no idea where it came from. There's weird sensor readings from this pattern in the transporter buffer.
Right.
There's nothing nearby. Sorry, it didn't come from the planet or any of the ships nearby, and it wasn't a cycle of the transporter pad that brought it here. There was a flash, and it was here. The first time the transporter was used on it when it was put in the transporter buffer.
So it's kind of holding.
Yeah.
The holding pattern kind of a thing?
At the moment, but with holding things in the transport buffer, it does have a maximum amount of time normally that can happen before the pattern starts degrading.
Okay.
Whilst you're thinking about that, I'm going to go back to Thatcher. As you're bounding through the corridors, trying to get back to the transporter with a beam from ear to ear, and the same on the dog, can you give me an insight and security roll as you're bouncing? I'm going to say it's difficulty 2. Would you like to buy any extra dice? You have 5.
Yeah, why not? I'll buy another one.
No
so
problem.
insight
and security. With the amount of momentum, you could buy 2 bonus dice and still have 2 points of momentum if you wanted to.
Nah, that sounds greedy.
Oh.
It's pretty good. I got 2 successes and a combination because I rolled a 3, a 7, and a 20.
No problem. So you have succeeded.
The extra dice actually hindered me.
So you can spend 2 points of a threat if you wanted to buy off that.
Yeah.
No worries.
Where's the fun in that?
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Is that you're not doing it?
No.
Okay. Right. So your complication, as you're charging through, you kind of you're so busy. Your turn to look at Tucker as you're running, for the sheer joy of running with your dragon dog and the joy of having done your job brilliantly, and you're a wonderful officer and you're going to be a captain in no time.
And got a pat on the head from my boss. Yeah.
And you slam into a crowd of people. As you look up, you've just gone around the corner and there's just a bunch of people in the middle of the corridor. And there's a bit of, oh, watch what you're doing. And you kind of lose your balance and you roll and you stop. You land on the deck that far away from a tribble with wires in different positions. And like, on mobile phones where they've got 3 lenses, that kind of thing, just a thing bolted onto it with that kind of look. And that's where I'm going to call it for tonight, because I think that's a good cliffhanger.
Oh, very good.
So thank you to my players for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And thank you for everybody who watched. We will see you next time for more Star Trek Lower Decks.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.